What's up, guys? Welcome back to another mock draft. So, just like last week, let's just get right into it. With the 28th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Mason Rudolph, quarterback out of Oklahoma State.
I think you guys already know why we're getting this pick. It's basically to plan for our future, and I think it is time that we do start planning for life after Ben, because we really don't know how much longer Ben has left in the tank.
Of course.
And if we don't think about life after Ben, then we could have some serious down years.
Exactly.
Like just look at Brad. Now I understand this is a different era, but look at Bradshaw. When he left, it took us what, 2 decades to finally find a franchise quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. Do you want to do that again?
I sure as hell don't.
So why not get someone like a Mason Rudolph, who is a lot like Ben? I mean, he's got the accuracy, he's got the arm, he's got the mobility, he's got the play style, his way to continue plays and make big plays out of it, his physicality. He is just like Ben, which is fucking crazy.
Absolutely.
So why not get someone like Ben and a Mason Rudolph, have him groom under Ben for 2 years, and when Ben finally decides to hang him up, he steps in and he is NFL ready.
Absolutely.
It's perfect.
And there's a lot of Steelers fans have been saying we don't need quarterback. Quite frankly, I think we do. We need to think about our future. And I know I say this a bunch of times, but look what Green Bay did. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. When he came in, look how the fuck he's done.
And look at Steve Young as well.
Exactly.
When Montana left, Steve Young came in, and he was one of the best 49ers quarterbacks of all time.
Absolutely.
They had a great success after Montana, and that's what we need to start thinking about, and that's what we need. Someone like Mason Rudolph is perfect. The only thing he's going to need to learn is to play under center, but that'll be fine if he learns from under Ben over 2 years.
Absolutely.
Plus, he has targets in A.B., Bryant if he's there, Bell if he's there. He'll have Juju. He'll have a possible tight end, depending on who's there. You know, he'll have an offensive line. He'll have good coaches, so he'll be good. He'll be good. Plus, his talent would work fabulously in our system and with our team.
Absolutely.
So, something to think about. And with the 60th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Malik Jefferson, linebacker out of Texas. This is nothing but depth. Well, it's actually more than depth, of course. Thing is that he, well, first of all, Malik Jefferson, I am really growing on him. We both are, actually.
I have high hopes for him. I really do.
He's got great height, great speed, 2 things that we need at the inside linebacker
He's
position.
got great strength. He's a very good, consistent tackler.
Exactly. And the thing is, what I love about him is that, like you said, he's consistent. And the thing is he's not going to come in and start day one, which is the beauty thing. More than likely, John Bostic will start opposite of Vince Williams at the start of this upcoming season. And then that means that Malik Jefferson can sit under the first few weeks, and then he'll develop and get better.
Get him to play on special teams for a bit, get his feet wet a bit.
Exactly, and the thing is, imagine his talent with the way he is now, and imagine him developing under the first few weeks. Imagine that. That's crazy.
It would be fantastic.
Right, he's got, like I said, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the tackling ability, he's got the strength. This guy has all the tools to be a great inside linebacker.
He really does, especially with this team.
Exactly, and the thing is, you know, like I said, him sitting under the first few weeks would really help him develop even more. Not put too much pressure on him. He'll be developed, he'll be comfortable, it'll be perfect. Malik Jefferson could be that next possible replacement, depending on what's up with Shazier in his career.
Right, of course.
Plus, I like that sideline speed, something we need at the inside linebacker position. So,
exactly.
Malik Jefferson is a guy that we are really growing on, and could be a good second round steal, really.
Yep.
So.
With the 92nd overall pick in 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select James Washington, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State.
This pick is for 2 reasons. One, because we don't know what's up with Martavis Bryant after the season. We don't know if we're going to resign him. We don't know if we're going to let him walk. We don't even know if we're going to trade him. Anything can happen with Martavis Bryant after the season. We could trade him. We could tender him. We could franchise tag him. Anything. We can do anything with him, but we don't really know what we're going to do with Martavis Bryant after this upcoming season.
Yeah.
So, and plus, the second thing, and this thing I really love is that, because when Ben finally decides to hang him up and Mason Rudolph comes in, he has someone that he is extremely familiar with to throw the ball to.
And very comfortable with as well.
Exactly. James Washington, which would really be perfect for him as well. It would be perfect.
Absolutely.
And plus, one thing I like about James Washington is he can play outside and in the slot. I could see him being an outside guy for us, but honestly, I'd put him in the slot and move Juju outside, because we know Juju can play outside.
Right, of course.
And in the second year, he's only going to get better, which is scary as hell. And
especially for his age.
Right, and imagine James Washington playing under Ben, where he'll get better, and then when Rudolph finally makes that transition, he'll have that chemistry with Rudolph, which will be deadly. Especially him in the slot. That's crazy, dude. Seriously. James Washington in the 3rd round will be a very nice, safe pick, specifically because we don't know what's up with Martavis Bryant, and if we do indeed draft Mason Rudolph, we have someone that he is very familiar with to throw the ball to, which is fantastic and adds that chemistry to this offense, which is scary. The thing is, we've shown a lot of interest in both Rudolph and Washington, so.
Because I believe we actually stayed late to talk to both of them, mainly Mason Rudolph, but we also took him out to dinner.
Right, exactly, which is, we are extremely interested in not only Rudolph, but Washington as well, so.
Exactly.
Don't be surprised if we draft at least one of them, so. You guys are probably going to be very, what's the term I'm looking for? Disliked, I guess, about you guys are really going to dislike this, or most of you probably are. Trade alert. We trade Le'Veon Bell to the Bears for Jordan Howard and the Bears' 4th-round pick. Now, I would have said their 3rd-round pick, but they traded their 3rd-round pick to the Niners to trade up for Trubisky. So, and I think the 4th-round pick is something we could use to draft this guy that we are about to say that we select in the 4th round with the 105th pick. Now, the reason why I have us trade, now of course Bell is going to have to sign the tag before we can trade him, but if we tell him that we are going to trade him, maybe he comes to his senses like, hey, you know what, I'll sign the tag. If I'm getting traded, if I'm getting my money, fine. I'll sign the tag.
Exactly.
And then we get someone like a Jordan Howard, and the thing is that
he has no issues off the field. He has no injury problems whatsoever. He doesn't cause drama. And what he does with Chicago with that okay line, imagine what he's going to do behind our line.
Which is scary as hell. And I posted this on Twitter, or we posted this on Twitter a week ago, that, there were reports that Jordan Howard removed all Bears-related photos or content or info or anything from his Instagram.
Now that could mean that his account got hacked. That could be. I don't know. I don't think he said anything about it.
Right.
Or that could also mean that he's going to get traded.
Or he doesn't want to be with the team. Or because I heard that, Jordan Howard doesn't really fit new Bears head coach Matt Nagy's system. So that could possibly lead to a possible trade. And honestly, I would love for us to swap running backs. Bell to the Bears and Howard to the Steelers. I mean, like you said, he has no issues on the field, off the field, no drama, and him with Ben and our offensive line would be fucking deadly as hell.
And plus, he's younger, so it keeps the team more young.
Absolutely, and we don't have to worry about signing him long-term for another 2 years, which is perfect for us. Mm-hmm. And one thing I like about it is that it's really a win-win deal, because we're getting Jordan Howard, who has no issues, and we don't have to worry about signing him for another 2 years, and we get that insane talent with this team that keeps his team young and really helps Ben as well. And Bell, plus we saved that $14 million, and Bell can go to Chicago where he'll get his money, he'll get a lot of playing time, so really it's a win-win deal.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it. Now, the trade might be a little bit unrealistic, but I can see it happening.
Anything can happen, really.
Yeah, so trade, like I said, maybe a little unrealistic, but it's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible. And I think I just think the trade would be beneficial for both players. Mm-hmm. Jordan's with a really good team, with a young team that would really help him succeed a lot. Bell, I mean, apparently he's shown that he only cares about money, so Chicago has the money to give him what he wants, so he'll be making his money, and Howard will succeed with us, and he'll be able to express his talents more, so it's perfect.
Right, exactly. And like we said, we traded for a 4th-round pick, for the Bears' 4th-round pick, and with that pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ian Thomas, tight end out of Indiana.
Ian Thomas is extremely underrated. I think he's getting overshadowed a lot by a lot of times, by a lot of analysts.
I feel like if he had a much better quarterback in Indiana, he'd probably be like round 1 or round 2.
A day 2 pick. Right. He can still be a day 2 pick, but with all the tight ends in front of him, I doubt it.
Like Hayden Hurst, like Mark Andrews, like Dallas Goedert, Mike Gesicki.
Right, so, he might be an early day 3 pick, and that's where we can select him in the 4th round if we do indeed trade for a 4th round pick. And like I said, Ian Thomas is extremely underrated. He doesn't get talked about a lot, and he's got great body control, great hands, great breakaway speed.
He's got great height. He's got very decent speed. He's a nice blocker.
Yes.
He's got great hands.
And he'd be a great vertical threat for this offense. And for Ben, he'd be a great safety blanket for Ben.
Absolutely.
So, and it would help our tight end position. I know many people are saying we don't need tight end. I personally think we need tight end. I think a lot of Steelers fans think we need tight end. I know people, we've been talking to a lot of people, and they say we need tight end. And one guy we're looking at is Ian Thomas. We could potentially look at him. Plus, the Steelers have shown a lot of interest in the tight end position. So
because I think they talked about. I think they talked with more tight ends than any other position. About the draft.
I believe you are correct. So don't be surprised if we select the tight end in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So, Ian Thomas, in the 4th round out of Indiana would be a very safe pick, would be a great pick. He can battle at number 1. He's a great vertical threat, very underrated.
Could be a 4th round steal.
Absolutely.
Be a consistent tight end that we do need.
Absolutely.
Because tight end is basically the one position in our offense that really lacks, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's really the one position that we don't have.
Right, really.
Or at least a consistent tight end. Vince McDonald can't stay healthy, and he has inconsistent hands and inconsistent play style. Jesse James is a number 2. Grimble, he's a good number 2, number 3, but he's not a number 1. So we need tight end.
Right,
Ian Thomas in the 4th round would be an absolute steal. He'd be a great vertical threat for this offense. He would really help Ben, especially since Ben is Asian, of course. So Ian Thomas would be an absolute gem in the 4th round. So. And in the 5th round, the 148th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Saron Neal, defensive back out of Jacksonville State. One thing I like about Saron Neal is that he is very versatile. He can play safety and corner. So we could put him at corner. We could draft him as a safety and put him at corner. He would be great depth at corner, especially since we signed Morgan Burnett, Nat Burhay, who I really love that signing.
I think the signing of Nat Burhay is excellent.
Yeah,
I think it's great because he's a great special teams contributor.
Absolutely, and that's something that we lack. We lack special teams.
Right.
And he is a fantastic special teams player, one of the best in the league, and plus he applies great depth as well. And that's what Saron Neal can do at the safety position or at corner. So honestly, I could see him being a good backup at strong safety, maybe, or not strong safety, free safety. I don't know. We could do several things with Saron Neal. We could put him at safety. We could put him at corner. He'd be a nice dime guy, nice slot guy. So, plus Saron Neal, I think is very underrated. I think he'd be a nice 5th round steal. He is very aggressive, great play style, great ball skills, good speed, good height. He would be a very nice 5th round pick. He'll apply depth and youth, of course. Or youth. Why do I keep saying youth? It's youth. I'm sorry. I gotta get used to it. I apologize. But Saron Neal in the 5th round would be a very nice pick. Would apply good depth and would be a very nice pick, really. So.
Right. With the 165th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Quadre Henderson, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh.
I know some of you guys are saying, why 2 wide receivers? We already got James Washington in the 3rd. Why are we going wide receiver again? This is nothing but depth, but as well as a return specialist. We need a consistent return specialist. We haven't had that since, I don't know, Holmes.
A very long time, really.
Randall Holmes. We haven't really had a consistent.
Maybe Stephon Logan. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have not had a good return specialist in a very long time.
I mean,
I'm not counting Antonio Brown. I really ain't.
Because he's a very good special teams player, but he's too valuable to put him in special teams.
Exactly.
That's where we draft Quadre Henderson, put him at special teams. He takes AB's spot, takes some pressure off AB, and he is a very good, very underrated return specialist.
He is,
and that's where he'd come in and do fantastic for us. Now he is a little slow for his height, but he can work on that. He's still not bad at all.
I mean, you got to think, not a lot of return specialists are really fast. I mean, look at Julian Edelman, look at Danny Amendola, look at, I can't think of any other more, but a lot of return specialists aren't really fast.
Right, and they're very consistent as well. So, Quadre Henderson in the 5th would not only apply depth, he'd be a very good, very consistent return specialist for us.
Exactly.
Whether it be kick or punt, whatever. So. And in the 7th round, the 220th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Cody O'Connell, guard out of Washington State. We all know that the Steelers like, or specifically Mike Munchak, we all know he likes to develop those late round, very tall guards or tackles, whether it be
whether they come from late round or if they go undrafted.
Right. Just look at Kelvin Beachum, who was very good for us. He started, I believe, 2 seasons with us, and now he's with the Jets. He did very good last year. Look at Chris Hubbard. He was a fantastic, versatile backup for us. Now he's a starter for Cleveland. Look at Alejandro Villanueva.
He started off as a defensive lineman for the Eagles. Then he came to the Steelers, became tackle, and look how he did. He went to the Pro Bowl.
Absolutely.
That just shows you how much Mike Munchak is a damn good offensive line coach.
Exactly, and that's what he can do with Cody O'Connell.
Exactly. And Cody O'Connell could very well be a very nice steal.
Absolutely. And he could be a very great backup, potential starter in the future, knowing who he's being coached by. And Cody O'Connell is a very underrated player. He's known as the Continent for a very good reason. He's tall, he's big, he's physical. I like Cody O'Connell, man. So I think he'd be a very great 7th round steal. He'd be a fantastic backup, and he'd really develop well under Mike Munchak. Very potential starter, possibly. So Cody O'Connell in 7th round would be a steal. Very nice depth pick, and it would help, of course, add more protection for Ben.
And that was still his final selection. With the 256th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Kentavious Street, defensive end out of NC State.
Now, Street did tear his ACL at his pro day, so he more than likely won't be playing this season, nor do we expect him to play this season if we do injury draft him, or whoever drafts him. The thing is, with his torn ACL, with his injury, his stock will obviously go down, and that's where we can select him in the 7th round. He'd be a nice last 7th round pick. He'd be a nice depth player for after this upcoming season. So.
And yeah, most likely he won't play due to his torn ACL.
Right, nor do we expect him to. But, you know, after this upcoming season, he could come in and be a very good backup for Hayward or Tua. Whether that be, because he could replace LT Warren or Tyson Alualu.
Quite frankly, I think he could replace Tyson Alualu because Alualu is going into his final year in his contract, plus he's getting a bit old.
Right.
So we got to keep that defensive line a little young.
And that's where Contavious Street can come in, and he'd be a very good backup for Hayward.
Yep.
So, anyway, guys, that's our, what mock is it, number 7?
I lost count.
Yeah, I lost count. You can tell by the title what mock draft it is, but that's our mock draft. Let us know what you guys think in comments below, and we might have an extra mock draft coming out this week. If not, then we'll see you guys Wednesday, so look out for that.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace!